Shivers, The Enchanted Attic by M.D. Spencer, Chapter 19. Nicole scarcely breathed as she read the words. They were written by Josiah Fowler's son, Franklin Fowler, who had been born in 1851, the year his father had moved into this house. When my brother died, I thought it was nothing but a cruel twist of fate, she read. And cruel it was indeed. He was only 16 years old, just 2 years older than I was myself, when his life was so brutally cut short. William was a drummer for his regiment in the Civil War until finally he became the flag bearer. He took such pride in it. Other members of his regiment told me afterward that he carried the Union flag into every battle as if he would rather die than see it touch the ground. He survived them all, including the terrible battle at Gettysburg, waving the flag of his country proudly above the smoke and the gunfire. He was shot through the heart April 9th, 1865, just hours before Lee surrendered at Appomattox, ending the war. His whole life was before him. Just one more day and he would have been free to come back and inherit this house, the very house in which I now sit, writing these sorrowful words. Instead of becoming master of this house, William was buried behind it, and I, only 14 years old, had to toss the first clod of dirt onto his coffin. Nicole thought back to the old and crooked gravestones she had seen behind the house. She remembered William Fowler, 1849 to 1865. His memory will be with us always. She read on. Of course, his death was tragic, and the timing was so very hard for me to accept. I thought then I had no reason to think otherwise, that it was just horrible luck, grim fate. Some poor soul has to be the last to die in every war. But I know now it was more than that. My wife, Karen, my beautiful, beautiful wife, had waited so long for a daughter. 3 sons she had, and no little girl to call her own. She died May 1st, 1875, the day our daughter was born. She had her little girl, but never got to hold her, even once. Forever after, I had to remember Lenore's birthday as the day I lost my wife. And my children, the same. Lenore was killed on her wedding day, just minutes before the happiest event of her life was to take place. A wheel broke loose from the carriage in which she was riding to the church. The carriage toppled, and she was trampled by her horse, which had taken a fright. Nicole read, spellbound. She did not recall seeing either Karen Fowler's grave or Lenore's, but she had only looked at a few of them. She read on. Franklin's son John, a musician, had died in 1890, the day before he was to give his first public recital in Boston. Henry, another son, had died the morning he was to graduate from college. Whitaker, the third son, died in 1915, the day before he was to realize his lifelong dream and be sworn in as a United States Senator. He left a wife and 4 children. And there was more. My grandson James died in Germany on November 10th, 1918. The day before the armistice was signed, ending the First World War, Franklin Fowler wrote, "It was then I knew that the curse had been passed to a new generation. Yet it seemed my lot to live on and on and on, my fate to suffer the grief of all the deaths in the family. My wife was dead. All 4 of my children were dead. And now I was to lose my grandchildren too. It was too much to bear." Nicole looked up at the portrait on the wall of the old man with the thick white hair and drooping mustache. This had to be Franklin. She understood now why his eyes looked sad and angry all at once. She continued reading. "After James died, I traveled to Salem. I knew of a witch there, a woman descended from one of the witches who had escaped burning at the stake in the days of the witch trials. I went to see her. I asked what could be done. She pursed her lips and studied me. 'Fate cannot be avoided,' she said. 'If that is your family's lot in life, nothing can be done to change it.' But I cannot stand to lose them," I cried. "There must be some way you can help." Again she pursed her lips, narrowed her eyes, and studied me closely. "There is one thing I could do," she said. "I cannot remove the curse. Members of the Fowler family will still die before their time. But perhaps I can alter the curse just a little, so that, in a way, the members of your family will remain with you always." "Do it," I begged. "Whatever it is, please do it." "All right," she said, "but I must warn you. There may be consequences that none of us can foresee. Spells are best not tampered with, and the dead prefer to sleep undisturbed."